anointing is empowering. The kingdom of the Lord is within me, and He's calling me.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the
Look at scripture, we find that movement and symbols were often used by prophets. We're in a time, or in the years when I first started moving in ministry and up until now, a lot of individuals try to make prophecy just verbal, and they overlook the prophetic gestures, the prophetic dance. And I'm a connoisseur of the dance, of the arts. Just absolutely love the arts. In the days of the early prophets, Samuel, Elijah, and Elisha, we read that there were schools of the prophet, often called sons or followers of the prophet. I thought that's instrumental because we have some followers here today in our live audience. Thank you, followers. Please give yourself a hand. The word prophesying is used to describe their activities. And this word, when it's describing their activities, it comes from a Hebrew root, which is nava, which is the same one used of all prophesying in the Old Testament. So we're going to experience nava today, movement in prophecy, prophetic gestures. In the Old Testament, 1 Samuel, the 10th chapter, the 5th through the 13th verse, and 1 Samuel, the 19th chapter, 20th through the 23rd verse, 1 Kings, 18th chapter, 25th through the 26th verse. Just giving you some scriptural references because I like for people to be able to research it, find it in the Word, and follow it. 1 Chronicles, 25th chapter, and the first verse. From the scriptures listed above, prophecy seemed at this time to indicate not only speaking, but shouting, singing, playing musical instruments, prophesying with your body, prophesying with your body to music, prophesying with your body in a song, a heavenly song. It could actually be a song that has already been pre-recorded, pre-written, or downloaded straight from heaven, singing it, moving to it, making powerful gestures and dance movements. Saul and his servants prophesied when they came into the presence of Samuel, and a group of prophets who were prophesying as a company. Another time, Saul is described as prophesying, and an evil spirit came upon him while David was playing the harp. The prophetic music drove the evil spirit from him. So we see the power of the prophetic in the music, power of the prophetic in the instruments, the power of the prophetic being spoken, power of the prophetic singing, power of the prophetic Hosea miming, power of the prophetic dancing. And if we look at Micah and the group of prophets, when Micah came in to prophesy to Jehoshaphat, one of the things that the prophets did was build a horn and put it on their head, used a ram's horn, and they demonstrated or used prophetic illustrations or objects to prophesy with. The word prophecy in these cases seems to suggest ecstatic movement together with singing or speaking. And this is when David was playing on the harp. David was known as the anointed psalmist. Prophets appears to have changed and describes the words that are spoken and their written equivalency. These accounts give descriptions of prophetic action given by God to enhance the prophetic word. And I want to highlight actions given by God to enhance the prophetic word, which takes us back to the arts. They're actions that are given by God to enhance the prophetic word. It makes it much more powerful. And I have someone here with me today that actually in some of our prophetic training classes, one we did in Apalachicola, I can't remember some of the other places that we've done the prophetic training, prophetic activation classes, and she actually prophesied, she gave to a person through dance, illustrating it through dance. The movement prophesied to the person what the Lord was saying. After she danced and gestured and made the turns and leaps and everything that God showed her, then she explained it in case they didn't grasp why she made a particular move or turn or twist. And I call these type prophet specialists because they can talk, they can write, but they are so discerning and precise in prophecy. There are modern day, instead of a general practitioner, they're the gynecologist or the neurologist. They specialize in moving so powerfully that you see words and you hear words, that you get the total essence of what God is saying. We're prone to remember things we see longer and grasp them and keep them versus things that we hear. A picture paints 1,000 words, but 1,000 words without a picture, you're prone to forget. So it makes the gift of prophecy much more powerful. Having said that, this is Destiny Young, my niece. I have to boast in the fact. Her and her friend have a nonprofit organization. They are entrepreneurs, have their own business, very, very successful. So I learned something about yourself, Destiny, and what you're doing, and how being a prophet from a child, knowing this, how that hindered or helped. How did you enhance on that? Did that help you in business? Does that help you with your students? And I think you guys are doing a parade this weekend. You've had a number of events. So I'm so proud of Global Arts. Why don't you give us the whole spiel?
Well, my name is Destiny, and I am from Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. And we were very restricted, and we weren't allowed to dance or to wear certain things like pants and different things like that. And we actually were introduced to your ministry. And this was the first time that we experienced dance, seeing it at your church that I experienced dance.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
What a wow, aha, great moment.
Right.
And I've always loved dance in college and put my daughter in every kind of dance form growing up. And I initiated, made sure that when we started the ministry, it included mime and dance. And I actually took our dance team and mime team to one of my classes at FSU, curriculum planning. When I was working on my master's, for one of my exams, I took our mime and dance team, which helped me to get an A out of that class. My teacher thought that was a great thing to add, to make it a part of the curriculum. So when we had an academy for 20 years, I included that.
So that was my first time actually seeing dance in the church. Otherwise, it was called worldly, a term that they use, like you're being worldly if you dance. And so when I saw that, it just created a hunger and a passion on the inside of me. I went through childhood normally. I always explain, as a part of our explanation for our company, that my parents were regular middle-class people. My dad and I for a trucking company. My mother and I come from a long line of domestic workers. Our parents worked hard. We couldn't take ballet or do extracurricular things because, they worked and they paid the bills. They weren't bad people, but it's just we couldn't afford to do those type things. But I've always been very athletic. I could run faster than anybody in the school. Anytime it was something to do with sports, I was into it. And I would go to the library and research dance, ballet. I went to the library and taught myself the 5 positions of ballet and learned about different dancers.
Told you she was a nerd in a good way.
And I began to teach myself what I thought I was seeing in church after I experienced your daughter, who is now my best friend and business partner, dance. I said, well, I'm going to teach myself since my mother can't, so I'll rent videotapes from the library and try to teach myself. Finally, I believe that you had to influence our pastor to allow us to dance in church. I remember you coming to our church and telling them that 80% of what you see you remember and 20% of what you hear, and you're giving her the statistics. And after that, they taught us our first dance, which is available. I think that's maybe James Cleveland or somebody like that. And I was so excited. And from that point on, I just loved to dance.
Thank you, God. I really sense the Lord is sewing up some things for you. There's some fleece, there's some things that you put before the Lord. A fleece is like a sign or a confirmation of, God, if you do this, then I'll know you with that. God is sewing up some things for you. He started with sewing up the heart, and then it's like a vacuum cleaner that was sucking things off of the mind. Because you followed different mindsets or words or opinions that made you conducive to believe that this was going to go just the right way, and then when it went the wrong way, it started unraveling you. But the Lord began to take that thread and sew things back together again, starting with the heart, and then He's sewing up some things so that you can move on from that and move on to true love, move on to true relationship, move on to soulmate. That's what I keep hearing. Soulmate. Move on to someone that knows your value and your worth. There's been a hunger down on the inside of you in terms of, and it's been going on for a long time. I don't want the general handout. I don't want to be somebody that they just manipulate and they just use, but they really don't enhance who I am or see who I am in God. It's all about what you can give. It's looking what they can get out of me. But I can hear your prayer of, God, I want to grow. I want what you want for my life. I want to be everything that you want me to be. I want to be that statesman. And you've hit some resistance because you started feeling like, wait, I don't want to be just a person that's constantly having to feed. I want to be fed also, and I want people to grow up in the things of God. And there's been some things that's been happening around you that's created just turbulence. I feel this turbulence around you. I feel this uneasiness around you, like, oh, okay, I'm sick of this now. What's going on now? And you started plowing in that intercession of, God, show me. Even during the night season, if you open my eyes and you show me what to do, God, I'll do just that, because I don't want to miss my timing. I don't want to miss the mark. God, I just want to be right on point so that you are pleased. There have been some withdrawals from you that were not God sanctioned or God ordained. It was just people making a pull and making pulls and pulls and pulls. Till you started feeling strange and wondering, why am I feeling strange? And why am I feeling odd and feeling depleted? Having thoughts that you've never ever had before that made you say, where is this coming from? It had to do with the withdrawals. It had to do with the kind of spirits that had been around you, that kept touching the mantle, that kept pulling from the mantle, that kept touching you, and then you just made you almost edgy and eerie, like, oh God, what is going on? I can't be around this, because I keep hearing the word strongholds. People with strongholds and demonic forces that they don't want to change, but if they keep getting you to touch it, it keeps heightening the warfare in your life. But they are just really using that to sabotage you. It's a sabotage. It's a coup that's designed to just come hard against you, to dismantle you, to trip you up. and you've been discerning that mid-heaven revelation and that warfare that's been going on. Now God is just revealing it. He's showing you in pages and pictures. This is what it is. It's meant to sabotage you. It's meant to trip you up. It's meant to hinder your forward momentum.
Let the Prophet Speak is reaching the nations with our weekly broadcast on Fox, WPGX, and YouTube. We receive countless emails, Facebook posts, and tweets about the teachings of Dr. Vernette Rosier on Let the Prophet Speak. You can experience the 2014 Women's Conference and help us continue to reach the nations with your financial support. For your gift of any amount, you can receive a CD of women that are warriors. For your gift of $50 or more, you will receive a signed copy of Dr. Vernette Rosier's book, Healing the Whole Person, Spirit, Body, and Soul, and a copy of Women That Are Warriors on DVD. For your gift of $100 or more, you will receive a complete set of the 2014 Healing the Whole Woman Conference on DVD, a signed copy of Dr. Vernette Rosier's book, Healing the Whole Person, Spirit, Body, and Soul, and Only You, featuring music by Dave and Jennifer Reagan. For your gift of $150 or more, you will receive all of today's offers, plus Success in the Home, a biblical guide to marriage, money, and romance by Donnie and Charlotte Ingram, and For My Good, a story of triumph and resilience by Dr. Sherry Pender.
To make a donation, contact Healing the Whole Person Ministries at 850-769-5442. Contact us via email at healingthewholeperson@comcast.net, or you can make your contribution securely through PayPal. Thank you for supporting Let the Prophet Speak and helping us reach the nations.
This testimony comes to us from Dr. Jessica Bale. Dear Prophet Rosier, I came across your YouTube video. Thank you for the relevant training and teaching on the Ascension gifts. This is a topic that needs much more attention. I have been a college instructor in the Middle East since 2012. I teach English. I am currently on sabbatical and would love to connect with you. Thank you for what you are doing to advance the kingdom of God through accurate spiritual training and instruction. Professor Jessica D. Bale.
Your spirit. God bless your spirit. Oh, yeah. By His word be made whole. Fight for your life. You're gonna live
As dance was adopted into the church, I began to take over. And you told our pastor that they should put me over the dance team. And when they would give me a song, I would dream about what was to be done in the dance, because I'm still nervous in front of people initially. But if I have time to dream, if I have time to go to sleep and prepare myself and take breaths, I'm much better. And so I would dream about the dances, and then I would come and teach the dance moves because I still hadn't had any formal training. So I would just teach what I saw in my head. And I learned as I took classes that what I was teaching was correct according to, pedagogy and dance like that. But it didn't come from any lessons or any books.
So that's word of knowledge, that God would give her knowledge that she didn't have on the secular side, give you the knowledge that you hadn't studied it. Yes, but the God that knows everything revealed the proper techniques that made you cutting edge.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. And when I went to college, I didn't initially major in dance. I thought that my parents wanted me to go on to be in a profession because I hadn't taken dance classes. My family members, some of them, but not everybody, would say that this is a waste. It's too late to be a ballerina. It's too late because most ballerinas and professional dancers start when they're 3 and 4 years old, and I was 18. But I was just getting my chance to take classes because my college was paid for by grants and scholarships. So this was my first dance class when I was 18 years old. Wow. And I continued to take dance quietly with my political science degree. I was pre-law. I finished my pre-law classes in 2 years, and so I still had 2 more years of college to go. And I decided to do a double major in dance. I finally called my mother one day and I was like, look, I want to be a dancer. This is what's in my heart to do. I just, I know you want me to go to law school. I know I promised I would go to law school, but I don't really think that's for me. I really want to dance. And she said, well, I always knew you were a dancer. I was just waiting till you. I was like, why didn't you just release me from that 2 years ago? Could have been something else. But when I got to college, I got a chance to work with different choreographers and different teachers, and I began to study not the classical dance forms like ballet and jazz, but I drew to modern and I drew to cultural dances. And which was kind of frowned upon and still is in some areas, because most cultural dances have to do with a religious order to some other god, Indian gods, Buddha, different things like that. But they really attracted me for some reason, the movement and the stories behind them. And I'm learning today that it has helped us be set apart, my dance company.
And I really think it attracted you because God was putting you in business before you ever had the dream or the concept or the idea. And if you look at, I'm remembering in college, I took religions of the world and pastoring a church. Now, at that time, I had no idea I would pastor. I would travel, pastor, teach, write books. But that broadened my spectrum. It gave me an understanding. Studying religions of the world makes me a better prophet, makes me a better pastor, makes me a better teacher. So I think that when we stick our head in the sand and only study one particular denomination or art form, it limits our knowledge, and it also inhibits our ability to be grounded in what we believe.
Yes, ma'am.
I believe that that's all a part of the experience.
Absolutely. And it definitely helps me today to be set apart from the other studios and different dance organizations around. But pairing it with the prophetic, because I didn't receive, I guess, formal training in the gifts of the Spirit until I came here 10 years ago, I noticed that whenever I would follow what I naturally wanted to do, it would end up being right. Wow. I didn't, have anybody to direct me, but when I just followed what felt comfortable or what felt peaceful, it ended up being right. And I think that's what lends itself to prophetic gestures or movements. Whenever I try to think about something, if I think about that I'm going to prophesy to you and I say I'm going to go in a circle or I'm going to do this, but if I just let my body move.
So in other words, if you allow God to move through you.
Absolutely.
And you're an instrument in his hand, so he dances through you, in you, and it conveys exactly what he wants to convey to people.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is the same thing as speaking it or singing it. If we think it through and have to know in advance what we're going to sing, chances are we won't get to sing it. Or if we have to practice with prophecy, you don't get a chance to practice what you're going to say. You just lend God your tongue. So instead of one part, you just loaned him your entire body. I applaud you.
Yes, ma'am. And so, and that's how that began to come. The lady pastor who I was under actually told me one day, I want you to, while you're dancing, I want you to look at people and go out to the audience and pray for them. I want you to do what you see yourself doing, and that was the first time that I ever did that, and I can't remember any of it. Most of the time after I dance, I can't remember, or some people will come and say that you did this or you did this, and it's just like it's really a, God or the Spirit just moving through. It's not through my mind or anything like that.
Prophesying by faith works that same way. After I finish, I have to either hear the CD or watch the DVD, or someone will say, do you remember saying that? No, because I didn't get a chance to rehearse it. It's as if it works through your tongue, through your vocal cords, but doesn't go through the brain for you to sift it or dissect it.
Yes, ma'am. And so we have paired that in our organization. Davrin, your daughter, has the opposite story of me, and where she took all of the classes and you put her into all the different dance forms, and she was very cultured, and she has a lot of experience. And so we just brought those two together. My mission was to bring the arts to underprivileged kids like myself, my little self, who couldn't afford to take classes, and hers were to bring expertise and culture to little kids who wanted to take classes, because she felt like when she went off to college and came back, it was a void, and it was a learning gap between what she learned outside of her city and what was here. And so we've just paired those things together and added education components and mentorship components to make the organization a whole. Just our own life experience, and the prophetic has definitely helped that, because the prophetic gave us our name. She heard the name in a service, and we went with that. The prophetic gives us our...
Your partner heard the name in a service?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. She was at a service with you traveling, and a rabbi was preaching, and she heard the name Global Art Society.
Oklahoma City Civic Center.
Yes, ma'am. And so she called me, and she was like, I think our organization should be this name. And I said, all right. And we changed it with this, because we had named it something else that we just thought was cute. And we changed it, went to Sunbiz, changed it, and as soon as we changed it, doors just began to open up, and we noticed that whenever we really seek God or seek prophetic counsel, it flows better for us. It's easier for us. So, I mean, it always helps us. Prophecy, we can't separate what our gifting is, our spiritual gifting is, what our passion is, from what we do on an everyday basis. Wow. It's helped us in the marketplace, and even with other individuals with contracts. She'll say, I feel like we should do this, or I'll say, I've seen us doing this, and we would do it, and doors would open. So I can't say that the prophetic has been a hindrance. Wow. We're not traditionally churched, and for the world who's not necessarily going into a church, they would just come into the dance studio and learn dance, and then we begin to deal with character issues or just things of morality. It lends itself for an avenue for us to say, maybe you should come to church, or maybe you should. So yeah.
So your gift literally made room for you and put you in business.
Yes, ma'am.
Your gift opened doors, gave you creative ideas, made you marketable, gave you your name, financial backing. So really you have benefited from what God designed you to do all your life.
It's like heaven on earth. Something's moving, something's changing.